As we all know, the 2015 NHL Draft is one of the best and most deep NHL drafts that we have seen in a very long time, with the first round from top to bottom providing a ton of amazing NHL talent, and you even had players like Sebastian Aho selected in the second round. Even with that being said, throughout the first round there definitely is some outliers, some players that haven't really panned out just yet anyways. And no, I'm not going to be talking about any of the picks Boston made, because at this point that is just beating a dead horse. It is talked about enough. In this video, however, we are going to be focusing on two players that were drafted in the first round of the 2015 NHL Draft that I am starting to get a little bit worried about. But real quickly before we begin, I want to let you guys know about TNT Hockey, which is an upstart company revolving around hockey cards and group breaks especially. Make sure to go give them a follow on Twitter to learn more about them. And if you purchase anything from their website, you can use code OhNyquist10 at checkout to save 10%. They currently have a group break going on that they're trying to fill up. I'm in it. I bought the Red Wings. So if you guys are into collecting hockey cards like me, make sure to check out TNT Hockey. And as always, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, then make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with all that being said, let's jump right into it. I'm going to begin the video talking about Evgeny Svechnikov, prospect for the Detroit Red Wings, who was selected with the 19th overall pick in the 2015 NHL Draft. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't starting to get worried about him. I would say his time is definitely running out for him to really prove himself and finally crack the Detroit Red Wings full-time roster, especially when you consider some of the players that were drafted after the Red Wings took Svechnikov 19th overall, guys like Kyle Connor, Brock Besser, Travis Konechny. All three of those guys are some of the brightest young stars in the NHL today. And as a Red Wings fan, I'd be lying if I said it didn't bug me sometimes thinking about that one of those three guys I just named could be a Red Wing right now instead of Svechnikov. But it's not like Svechnikov was an off-the-board draft pick or anything. Most mock drafts and rankings leading up to the 2015 draft had Evgeny Svechnikov anywhere in like the 15 to 30 range. And that was for good reasons. Svechnikov was a beast at the junior level for the Cape Breton Screaming Eagles. His draft year, which was the 2014-15 season, in 55 games he scored 32 goals and added 46 assists for 78 points, and was also a point per game in the playoffs with 7 points in 7 games. And after being taken 19th overall in the 2015 draft by the Red Wings, things started out good for Evgeny Svechnikov. It's not like it immediately looked like the Detroit Red Wings made the wrong selection here. In the 2015-16 season, returning to junior after being drafted, Svechnikov scored 32 goals and had 47 assists for 79 points in 50 games, and also had 15 points in 13 playoff games for the Screaming Eagles, and would eventually turn pro the following season to play in the AHL for the Grand Rapids Griffins. And Svechnikov continued to impress. He had a fantastic first professional season in the American Hockey League. As a 19-year-old, Svechnikov finished third on the Grand Rapids Griffins in scoring with 20 goals and 31 assists for 51 points in 74 games. He was also a key factor in the Grand Rapids Griffins going all the way and winning the Calder Cup, as he was one of the top players for the team throughout that playoff run, finishing with 12 points in 19 games. But unfortunately for Svechnikov, after this, things seemingly just went completely downhill. He was not able to continue his development into the following season, as he finished the 2017-18 year with just 23 points in 57 American Hockey League games and just 4 points in 14 games for the Red Wings. But it wasn't necessarily something to be extremely worried about, because we saw the season prior what he could do at the AHL level as a 19-year-old, and a lot of people, including myself as a Red Wings fan, expected him to bounce back the following season and hopefully have a chance to crack the Red Wings roster. But he never even got an opportunity the following season to prove to everybody that he could bounce back. Training camp heading into the 2018-19 season, Svechnikov suffered an injury that required ACL reconstruction on his right knee and would force him to miss the entirety of the 2018-19 season. Even saying that this injury was a major setback would be an understatement. This was detrimental to the growth of Evgeny Svechnikov, especially coming off of a not so good year, hoping to prove himself and bounce back the following season, and just not even getting the opportunity to do that. I can't imagine how tough that would have been on him. Luckily, he was able to make a full recovery, and that kind of brings us to today, the 2019-20 season, where he played a full year with the Grand Rapids Griffins in the American Hockey League and played a handful of games at the NHL level for the Red Wings. Not an outstanding year, but he definitely took strides in the right direction, and especially coming off an injury like he did, it wasn't awful, but he is 23 years old. Heading into next season, he will be turning 24. How much time is left for Evgeny Svechnikov to finally crack the Red Wings lineup? Next year is going to be massive for him. I'm really hoping he can be a mainstay at the NHL level. Probably as a player in the bottom 6 for the most part, but hopefully getting a look on like the second power play unit. And who knows, maybe he finishes with like 10 to 15 goals and 35 to 40 points. I think that would be a big step in the right direction for Svechnikov. But if that doesn't happen and Svechnikov has a disappointing 2020-21 season, I honestly think there's a strong chance we could see the Red Wings move on from Svechnikov and maybe go their separate ways sooner rather than later. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I really hope he pans out, but it's not looking good right now. The other player I wanted to touch on in today's video is Noah Juulsen, who the Montreal Canadiens selected with the 26th overall pick in the 2015 NHL draft. Noah Juulsen has had some absolutely terrible luck so far to start his professional career. Injuries have kind of had their way with Noah Juulsen. Since the start of the 2018-19 season up until now, Juulsen has only played 37 total games between the NHL and the American Hockey League. With that being said though, there definitely were some red flags early on. After the Montreal Canadiens selected him 26th overall, he went back to junior to play the following 2 seasons after being drafted with the Everett Silvertips, and his numbers just weren't the greatest, especially compared to the numbers that he put up in his draft year when he had 52 points in 68 games and had a plus 22 rating. After having your team draft a player and them returning to junior for the next couple of seasons, obviously you would prefer them to dominate down there even more than they did before they were drafted, but that just wasn't the case with Noah Juulsen, and like I said, that was probably the first big red flag. Noah Juulsen would turn pro in the 2017-18 season and split the year between the Montreal Canadiens and the Laval Rocket. He played 23 games in the NHL and 31 games in the American Hockey League, and he did pretty decent at both levels, and it was definitely a nice step in the right direction in terms of his development. But like I said earlier, since the beginning of the 2018-19 season, he really just hasn't had an opportunity to play very many games and show everybody what he can do. Much like what I said about Evgeny Svechnikov, I think next season is going to be massive for Noah Juulsen, and if healthy, I think the Montreal Canadiens will probably give him all the opportunity in the world to become a mainstay on that Montreal Canadiens blue line. But just how much time does Noah Juulsen have left to prove to the Montreal Canadiens that he can be a good, consistent NHLer on the blue line? Because when you look at what they have right now back there, they got Ben Sherratt and Shea Weber, Jeff Petrie. Obviously, those 3 guys, when healthy, are going to be in the lineup. You also have Victor Mete. There's most likely your top 4. And then you have Alexander Romanov, most likely coming over from Russia next season. A lot of people, including myself, think he's going to be the real deal and potentially a very good future top 4 defenseman for this team. So that's 5 guys right there. That leaves 1 spot open. Does that go to Noah Juulsen, or does somebody else come in and take that spot over him? If that happens, then I really don't know what the future holds for Juulsen. And anyone watching this who is a fan of the Montreal Canadiens, be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below, because my insight on Svechnikov was definitely a lot better than it is on Juulsen, because I'm a Red Wings fan. I watch basically every game. I've seen him play countless times, but I'm not as familiar with Noah Juulsen, of course, as I am with Evgeny Svechnikov. So if you're a fan of the Canadiens, make sure to let me know your thoughts on Noah Juulsen, and what do you think the future holds for him? Do you think he is ever going to become a mainstay on that Canadiens blue line? And if so, do you think he's going to be a top 4 guy, a bottom pairing guy? So yeah, any thoughts that you have on these 2 players, be sure to leave me your thoughts down in the comments section below. And I do want to say this before I end the video, I didn't make this wanting to bash any of these players. I'm obviously rooting for them both. You never like to see, first round picks or highly touted prospects turn out to be busts, because obviously that could be hard on them as a person, not just a hockey player, and obviously it is a pretty big setback for the organization as well. So there is definitely still time for these 2 players to become NHLers. It's just a couple of guys that, in my opinion, were outliers from that 2015 first round that I kind of wanted to focus on and talk about in today's video. So that is going to wrap up today's video. I really hope you all did enjoy. Like I said multiple times throughout the video, be sure to leave your thoughts and predictions down in the comment section below on what could happen with the 2 players that we talked about in today's video. And of course, if you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like on the video. That is definitely the best way to show your support, and we're on the grind of 40k right now. So if you are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, then be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next one.